So, I have watched probably almost every James Bond movie. And with MGM Plus, because we downloaded it for 1 month so we could watch Labyrinth with the kids, I decided to start watching a bunch of movies, starting with Robocop 3. And then I saw, oh, they got a bunch of James Bond on here. And I'm like, I've never seen A View to a Kill. And I knew this was the one with Christopher Walken as the bad guy. And for some reason, like, I could have sworn the final battle took place on a hot air balloon, and it was a Zeppelin in all actuality, but I guess, I don't know. I never actually saw the whole movie. I saw like a clip once when I was a kid, and for some reason in my mind, the final battle took place on a hot air balloon. Um, a little bit more epic with it being a Zeppelin and they're flying over, California. So, uh, this, I don't know if this was the last Roger Moore movie, but it was late in Roger Moore's career as Bond. And you can tell because he looks like he's 70 years old, and that's, it's a little bit hard to play an action hero when you are dealing with being that old. I mean, I have no problem with that. Roger Moore, this might be the controversial take, but I think I enjoy the Roger Moore films the most because I watched them the most when I was a kid. Um, I would say that he's definitely not the best Bond, but his movies are the ones that I enjoy the most. That's my hot take. All right. Um, but for some reason, A View to a Kill was the only one that I had, somehow avoided. Um, but that being said, having just watched it, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, Roger Moore is old in the movie, and it shows. Some of the fight scenes were definitely filmed in a way so they could have him be in as little danger, I guess, from any of the stunts as possible. Um, so let's get to the plot. There's an evil businessman named Max Zorin who is going to try to destroy Silicon Valley. And at this point, maybe we should have let him do that. Anyways, so his whole plan is he is going to cause a gigantic earthquake by making two fault lines go off at the same time, creating an earthquake that's going to sink the entire um, Silicon Valley under the water. Um, and it's crazy. It's like, oh man, he was literally on the verge of succeeding until James Bond stopped him, literally with only a few minutes to spare. And it was fun. There's a couple of fight scenes through the movie as it progresses, and the whole fire truck car chase scene towards the end of the movie, and of course the fighting on the Zeppelin at the very end. Roger Moore's stint was a little bit more goofy than Sean Connery or Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton. Um, of course, any era prior to Daniel Craig is better than Daniel Craig's era. The only good Daniel Craig film was Casino Royale, and the rest of those ones were terrible. I mean, it, when you take the fun out of Bond, it no. So Max Zorin is a computer tech billionaire, and he wants to create a new Silicon Valley. So he wants to get rid of the old Silicon Valley, and he's also using these microchips to inject his horses because he's got horse breeding. He loves races, um, and he's like apparently a genetically modified Russian pretending to be an American businessman. Um, and it's you know it was a lot of fun having Christopher Walken and Roger Moore go back and forth with dialogues pretty funny. Roger Moore, of course, is just dropping one-liners one after another, and it was a fun movie. Was it the best Bond? Not by a long shot. I mean, even though I said I think I enjoy Roger Moore's era the best, I'd still say probably GoldenEye might be the best Bond movie, uh, by itself. Of course, I'm a huge fan of The Man with the Golden Gun. That's probably the James Bond I've seen the most of all of them. And I'm currently now working on Doctor No. So I figured I'd go back. I didn't look to see if that was the first one, but I feel like Doctor No was the first Bond movie. So I'm gonna watch a couple more of these Bond movies because I have MGM Plus till I think the 26th. So I'm gonna try to go through a couple more before that streaming service ends, which I was not the biggest fan of their collection overall. It's not something I would want to pay $5 a month to continually have because their selection I didn't feel was that great, but they do have a bunch of Bond movies, and I'm gonna try to go through as many of them as I can before the my time is up on there. Anyways, have a good one.